Good Friday to everyone. Thanks for stopping by GardenStateWeather.com and GardenStateWeather.blogspot.com. I'm forecaster Robert Smith with a video forecast discussion for a storm along the mid-Atlantic coast states this weekend. It's going to impact a lot of regions from New York City down to Philadelphia and the northern mid-Atlantic. Let's get going here. We've got a lot of weather data to cover. This is the forecast discussion for Friday, the 13th of December 2013. First, I'd like to mention that live coverage is now set up on both websites, GardenStateWeather.com and GardenStateWeather.blogspot.com, for continual information and live feeds on both websites, also on Facebook, Twitter, and other social media as well. First, we're going to start with the watches, warnings, and advisories as they're coming in this morning. First of all, we have winter storm watches for Sussex, for Warren, for Carbon, Monroe, Berks, Lehigh, and Northampton, and this will begin for Saturday morning right through Saturday night. We're expecting anywhere from between 5 to 9 inches of snow possible in this area, with about a fifth of an inch of ice. Temperatures will remain in the 20s, slowly rising to around 30 by Saturday night, but temperatures in this region may stay basically in the 20s throughout the entire event. As we get further south into northern New Jersey, for Morris, Hunterdon, Somerset, and Upper Bucks in Pennsylvania, and Upper Chester and Montgomery too, we're dealing with winter storm watches for 4 to 8 inches of snow and a tenth of an inch of ice beginning Sunday morning, transitioning to a little bit of sleet later Saturday night possible before ending. Temperatures there remaining in the 20s. For northeastern New Jersey, which would include upper portions of Bergen and upper portions of Passaic counties, and also for areas in southeastern New York and interior Hudson County, the Hudson River Valley and interior southeastern New York, we are dealing with 4 to 10 inches of snow with winter storm watches beginning on Saturday morning, lasting through Saturday night. Temperatures holding in the low 20s, and again, we could be dealing with about 5 to 10 inches of snow in this area. For ports further south in the rest of northeastern New Jersey, just outside of New York City right now, the winter storm watches are up, and we could be dealing with anywhere from between 5 to 10 inches of snow. This begins on Saturday morning and lasts through Saturday evening, with the temperatures remaining in the 20s, rising closer to the coast near 30 by Saturday evening. The snow could become very heavy at times in banding across this route during Saturday evening and early Saturday night. For the marine deck, we have small craft advisories on the south shore and east ends of Long Island until 6 p.m. tonight. These are gale warnings on the western shores of south shores of Long Island. We have gale warnings on the eastern side of Long Island, the South Shore, until 6 p.m. tonight. Also on the New Jersey coast and in the harbor here, small craft advisories until 6 p.m. and 4 p.m. this afternoon, and that is due to a very strong wind gust up to 25 knots with the temperature inversion and choppy seas here. On the north shore of Long Island, again, small craft advisories until 6 p.m. this evening. For the aviational weather deck, basically VFR conditions today, going downhill to MVFR tomorrow morning, and then IFR conditions in snow developing across the route north of Philadelphia and Reading. All that should be snow tomorrow morning, continuing throughout the afternoon and possibly becoming heavy at times tomorrow evening through the early part of the night and ending as snow. And then we'll have improving conditions with VFR conditions on Sunday with northwest winds at 10 to 20 knots. We could find winds very strong along the immediate coast on Saturday afternoon and Saturday night as the storm transfers from the Ohio Valley to the Delmarva Peninsula and then off into the coastal waters just inside the 40-40 benchmark here, and 40-70 benchmark rather. And Monday and Tuesday we'll have VFR conditions. There could be a little bit of light snow or light rain shower, mostly light snow shower as a trough moves through on Tuesday, but generally VFR conditions. Now, once again, for out of Newark today, we'll have broken ceilings at about 25,000 feet, some scattered to broken clouds at 4,000 to 8,000 VFR conditions. Temperatures in Newark this morning 20, the wind is northwest at 10, the skies are clear, the wind chill is 9. Philadelphia this morning out of the terminal 26 degrees, the wind is west actually at 14 miles per hour. Skies are clear, the wind chill 14. We're looking for scattered clouds at 25,000, a few scattered clouds at 5,000, and then becoming broken ceilings tonight 25,000 and completely overcast at 20,000 with snow spreading across the route very early tomorrow morning. Morning observations here before dawn show a light southwesterly flow which will be veering further to the west during today. Temperatures this morning already starting out in the upper teens to the low and mid-20s in the New Jersey, New York City metropolitan area. Temperatures are still holding in the teens across central and southeastern Pennsylvania and down through central and southern New Jersey. Temperatures are beginning to warm through central and southern New Jersey for Atlantic City and Millville into the mid and upper 20s, and the dew points are very cold and dry. They're in the single digits to low teens, and this is all in the advancement of changes that are big time on the way. Morning surface chart from weatherroanoke.com and Digital Atmosphere Software shows the high pressure ridge across the central and southeastern United States. There's a weak surface trough or thermal trough moving through the region this morning. The winds are southwest ahead of it, and they're generally veering more toward the west behind it. There's a cold front here across the upper Great Lakes, and that will remain to our north and east during today as the ridge of high pressure remains in control. The storm system getting going here across the Four Corners region, and this disturbance here entering the northern plains and diving down will converge into a surface low that will be enhanced as this surface low here develops and moves towards the Ohio Valley, with a secondary and transfer to a primary here off the southern New England coast of the Delmarva region during Saturday afternoon and Saturday night. Close-up this morning shows the weak trough across our western zones this morning, and some clouds spilling over the top into northeastern Pennsylvania and the Poconos region. No precipitation here as that remains to our west, with snow plumes coming off of both Lake Erie and Lake Ontario in the strong west flow this morning. After looking at an expansive array of data, I'm still going to use the CMC Canadian model to show you the precipitation type and what it looks like. This is pretty much in line with the European, also the GFS to some extent, which is a little warmer, the NAM model obviously, and as we go through the forecast period, we're going to start using the mesoscale models such as the RAP, the RUC, and the HRR, and obviously we're going to use the NAM WRF model too, because it tends to do better in cold air damming situations. And we do have that setting up across the Lehigh Valley, the Poconos, northwestern New Jersey, southeastern New York, and the lower Hudson Valley and interior Connecticut River Valley as we go forward here. This begins our forecast, and obviously okay, here we go. High pressure building across the region. We can already see the snow plumes here coming in off the Great Lakes and Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. We already start to see a signature of cold air damming here as high pressure continues to build in across southeastern Canada and gets wedged in under this high here, and the storm system developing out to our west and southwest. As we go through the forecast, things remain pretty dry until we get to early tomorrow morning. That's where the clouds really overspread the region, and the model develops precipitation already by early tomorrow morning. Some of this probably will not be reaching the ground, but it's possible that by after 9, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, areas in northwestern New Jersey, the Poconos, and even into New York City and parts of Long Island could start to see some light snowflakes coming. This would be an initial burst, what we call an agiostrophic flow, and this would be a wing, so to speak, of warm air advection. This is not the main feature here, but do not be surprised if you see some snow break out in some of these areas. Very light and intermittent. To the south and east, we don't expect the precipitation to build in that quickly, and then eventually toward the later morning, let's say around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, this is where the precipitation starts to break out in burst across portions of the region. Pennsylvania, south and central New York State, parts of northern New Jersey and Long Island. The main event here is for Saturday afternoon and Saturday night, as this low pressure system here moves towards the Ohio River Valley and then transfers its energy to off the Delmarva coast. As we go further into the picture here, don't be surprised if you find waxing and waning of precipitation tomorrow afternoon before the precipitation really gets going here during the late afternoon and overnight hours. This is where the precipitation will be coming down moderate to heavy in parts of Pennsylvania through central and eastern New Jersey in the Hudson Valley into New York City. This line here, we're thinking from the Turnpike down through Philadelphia and I-95 corridor will begin to mix with some sleet and then freezing rain or just plain rain. And the rain will develop and spread rapidly from Atlantic City through Millville and the Delmarva region. So very little snow accumulation along the coastal plain of southeastern New Jersey. But from the I-95 corridor north and west, especially from Trenton north and east, anything to the north and west of 287, Interstate 78 and along 80. That's where the heaviest snow, with snow ratios of 15 to 20 to 1. So it's going to be a fluffy snow, and it's going to be a mess driving around here and getting around. At some of the airports are probably going to already have delays by Saturday afternoon as the snow really gets going here. Now, most of the snow will continue to be moderate to heavy through the evening hours and probably eventually mix with sleet and change to rain even around the coastal plain here. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the soundings here from the NAM model this morning are showing that the freezing line will be even further south than this, and that means that the precipitation might be coming down in the form of sleet and snow mixture. So it's really going to be a mess here, even from coastal Monmouth all the way down to Trenton and just around the turnpike towards the I-95 corridor. So this is an example of what we think the precipitation will be, but the model soundings are beginning to show even colder profile. This model most likely agrees the cold air damming situation with the GFS, but the NAM model's soundings are a little bit colder throughout this column in this region. So we're going to be monitoring this closely. It's going to be a very difficult forecast going ahead from the transition zone from rain to sleet to snow. But basically my initial thoughts from north of 78, west of 287 and 80, that's where the areas are going to receive the heaviest snow, and we could find some frontogenetic banding beginning to develop Saturday evening through Saturday night, and the snow could be coming down, and that's going to add to the snowfall totals on the higher end across areas where the banding sets up Saturday evening and Saturday night. This is an example of the model sounding from the NAM model at the height of the storm around 11 o'clock on Saturday night, and this would be for around the Edison, New Jersey area. If we look at the profile here, this is our 0Z line, our freezing line here. Everything to the west of that, this line indicates a strong signal for snow as the precipitation remains below freezing right through the column, and this would be at the height of the storm. Now, this is for Edison, New Jersey. If we went down towards Philadelphia and drew a new plot here, this is what it would look like, and it's coming up right now. It might take a second to load. And this was what it would look like. Now, this sounding for the Philadelphia metropolitan area by 11 o'clock tomorrow night as the precipitation's coming down is that the fact that most of the column from 10,000 feet down through around 3,000 feet is above freezing, and then gets down to just below freezing at the surface. So this is an indicator of freezing rain at the surface at the height of this storm. So it's going to be a variable amount of changeover here as we go through the region from the coastal regions through Trenton and then north and west of there. Now, the National Weather Service's snow total forecast and storm total ice forecast, which is current, calls for the 8 to 10 inches in Sussex County and parts of Warren County, 6 to 8 inches across the board here in portions of Morris County. As you get down towards Trenton, it's a 2 to 6 inch range, and then of course the ice, which is going to add to that on top of it by the time the precipitation begins to mix and change over during the course of late tomorrow evening. But most of this north of this 78 line and west of 287 should remain primarily snow if the NAM and higher resolution models begin to continue to show exactly what they're showing right now. Now, for interior northeastern New Jersey, the lower Hudson Valley into interior Connecticut, and this would include all of Long Island, both the north and south shore, we're dealing with anywhere from between 4 to 8 inches of snow, and some of this snow could be even heavier than that. This is not accounting for where mesoscale banding sets up, so that's why the National Weather Service has gone ahead and increased the winter storm watches throughout the entire forecast region. So it's going to be a busy day, and the food stores and just about everywhere today on the roads as people hunker down for this isentropic winter storm across the northern mid-Atlantic major corridors. New York City, Philadelphia, up and towards Boston is going to get a lot of snow out of this too as the coastal really takes hold. They could be looking at better than a foot of snow across interior southeastern New England by the time Sunday evening comes around and gone. So now is the time to prepare. Now is the time to get all your necessary things that you're going to need from the store, batteries, of course food, all your provincials there. And don't forget, live coverage will continue now. It's live on both websites and live feeds from Twitter and Facebook as well. And we'll have another updated video forecast discussion this evening if needed. Otherwise, this will be the last one, and everything will be done in live fashion via the live feed and live coverage on both websites. So be careful out there and prepare for your weekend storm. I'm forecaster Robert Smith. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll be talking to you over the weekend.